Oh, howdy, amigos. We're back after my longest pause on this ever, which is good. We may or may not be back to weekly, but I think I needed that little unplanned sabbatical just to, reflect on some things, not have a pressure of this on Mondays, but to work on some other things. So, yeah, we're back. Maybe next week, maybe not. We'll see. But Monday Musings is returned. And man, there's a lot I think that I could talk about and reflect on for today. But I think one of the things that I want to look at that's popped up a lot with just reflections, which is the point of this. I've seen this clinically lately and personally, and I think we see this publicly a lot too, but it's the question of how much we self-sabotage in an attempt to improve or seemingly improve our life. And there's two things I'll look at with this. One is when we are aiming for happiness, and in so doing, we achieve destruction. And it's the glutton mindset, that cardinal sin, and the constant pursuing of sugar and distraction and sin and all these, just any type of metaphor for that you can give, this just endless euphoria that actually doesn't yield the happiness we thought it would, which is why my work focuses more on joy and identity alignment and identity formation, because you won't always be happy during that, but you can enjoy the life you're leading and the decisions you're making, even if you're not getting the sweet dessert or the video game you want or the ecstatic ecstasy response. And that's okay, because that happiness isn't really the goal of a genuinely happy or joyful and aligned life. That's the big one. The other is people who find themselves stuck in pain cycles and completely disregard how much control they have over that pain cycle. And this is a delicate one to talk with people about. I always find it difficult because at the end of the day, you're going to have to address the question of, are you trying hard enough? And that's the quick way to say it, but it could also mean, have you tried everything? Truly, has everything been put on the table? Because sometimes it really is just a question of, I don't know the route forward and I need help. Other times, if we were all to reflect on a vice or a problem that we feel like we're struggling with, and to ask ourselves, is there anything that I'm doing that I know is contributing to the problem, that if I eliminated or changed, it would make the problem better? Most of us would say yes. So, and the question there is, why do we continue with it? That's the other side of self-destruction. And a lot of times the answers we say yes are, I think, twofold. One is because we have to sacrifice something else we enjoy. So someone who needs to get better sleep and they're acknowledging, well, I think watching this TV show every night, I love watching TV shows before bed every night, or so, whatever they're doing. And they say, but what ends up happening is I watch 2 episodes and I go to bed late, and my mind does get activated with the television show, and it takes me a while to calm down. I end up having just listen to stuff all night or scroll on my phone, or I have to take medicine to fall asleep. And if I just gave that up, I think that would fix the problem almost entirely, but it would for sure help. And the give and take of that is, it's not all or nothing. It's not just, oh, it's helpful, or it's not. What it's helping in their mind is, I get this release at the end of the day. I get to engage in an activity that brings me joy, or in this case, happiness. Because what they're actually saying is, I don't like the days that are produced by this behavior, which means I'm sacrificing the joy of the life I could have for the short-term happiness in the moment, because I feel like I need to steal it back. It's poverty mindset. And it's not poverty in financial sense, it's poverty in time that feels fulfilling. And so we reclaim it through self-destruction. And that's very, very real thing. And so usually there is that trade-off of, well, that's why I'm not. Or the person says, well, I don't really know the route. Or it's sometimes as simple as, I don't know that there is a trade-off. I just want this thing so badly in the moment. I want the thing that's controlling my life. And then we get a little bit more information there about why is XYZ so controlling. So when I say we control our suffering more than we think we do, that's what I mean, is we are actively involved in pursuing suffering or lack thereof. And ironically, pursuing joy almost guarantees a form of suffering. And usually when we look at that form of suffering, we picture it as shedding off old skin or burning off the dead wood that we don't need anymore. It's like a phoenix experience, just burning off what doesn't need to be there and rebirthing the new, better you out of that. So that looks like the choice of pushing into hard conversations or hard decisions versus just saying, oh, whatever, I'm just doing this. Or I'm just going to say how I feel instead of consider the other person and how they'll respond. Or knowing that you are right, potentially, because we don't really know that, do we? But saying, I do feel justified in this, but I know for me to emphasize my justification, it will belittle the other person. So I'm going to take the low ground and perhaps apologize or perhaps hear them out, even if I don't think I did something wrong. That's saying I'm going to choose a level of suffering to grow. And what we find is sometimes we're just not right about everything, or the route that we thought was correct was not the growth route. And we get to reflect on that and say, oh, I didn't actually know better. And I think that's important. And part of that process is also reflecting on the question of, do I really want the life I claim to want? And am I ready to do everything it takes to have that? What's the most important thing in your life? What are you aiming for above all else? And whatever your answer to that is, if you can think of a moment where something else has taken more importance or taken precedent, then that thing is more of a goal at the end of the day. Or in that moment, it obtains more power. So if I say, my number one goal is family, right? And then I'm constantly working and I always accept work calls and emails outside of hours. I am at the end of the day saying that work is more important. And I use that example because a lot of people will say, well, you have to work to make a living and you have to be available. To which I'll say two things. One, yeah, you do have to earn resources. The question is it more than what's needed? And so not everyone has enough to get by and to feel comfortable enough. But there is a question of, is there anything that we are overspending on or overusing when it comes to our resources that we could not, and then not work as much? Or is there boundaries that I'm not seeing? And I think the second one is more correct, because a lot of the times people just won't take the opportunity of real boundaries that exist. And this question of, if you don't have a job that's technically on call, then don't be on call. It's okay. It's okay. And take time for the things that really matter. If family, then family. If you're a religious person, you take that time to have religious connection. If you're someone like me who takes off Saturdays, you take it off. I don't check my emails on Saturdays. I don't check work anything on Saturdays. I work maybe one Saturday a year for a couple minutes because there's an emergency, and that's a maybe. It's not common. And that's partly because that's required with my job. So there are things like that. But I don't have that very often. And anytime I break a rule about something more important, I get counsel from people I trust. And that's the community building, because it's hard to break through and stay out of your own way when it's just you. The people who are closest to me know what my goals are and know what matters to me. So if I'm getting in my own way, it's easier for them to call me out. It's easier for them to hold me accountable to the way of life that I'm saying I want. Which is also why breaking out of our own self-suffering becomes easier with people, because they know what that looks like and they know what we're trying to avoid. and can call us out of that scenario and say, hey, this isn't you and this isn't what you want. You've included us for a reason. We're going to step in. Great. Plain and simple. Great. So these are important. And being able to accurately look at yourself and say, what am I doing that I know goes against the future I want? Just find one thing today and commit to changing it. Simple as that. And maybe it's a big deal. Maybe the first thing that pops to your mind is a huge mountain you're trying to climb. Then sit for another minute or two and reflect, what else am I doing? It's okay to fish around for a second. But see if you can't make one step forward and find one area of your life that you can make an improvement and shift that in the direction that you want to be aiming. And it's better to look at those as stacking them week to week. I think if you can put a bunch of changes in place all at once, that's better. But if you're the type of person, which is most of us, to be overwhelmed with all change at once, totally get it. Pick a change, do it for 2 weeks. Pick a new change, do it for 2 weeks while maintaining the previous changes and stack them on top of yourself. And within a year, you'll be doing pretty good, all things considered. And wherever you notice sticking points, reach out for help, get counsel, get advice, get input, build a team of people. Relationship building is important. So if you don't have a community of people that you trust, that's something to pursue pretty aggressively. You don't want to come across as too needy, but seek it out. This is usually found in settings like churches. Hobby and interest groups are harder because usually what you're connecting on is a surface level engagement, not a deeper core identity and value similarity. So if you're all connecting over soccer, when you get down to the nitty gritty, you might actually be dramatically different in worldview and belief and understanding the human condition. So the deeper connection you need to withstand positive change won't usually come from them. It might for soccer improvement. But that doesn't mean don't join those groups. It just means if you're struggling to find deeper connections, but all you're doing is joining interest groups, that makes sense why you would be struggling, because you're not joining groups of the depth that you're wanting to experience with other people. You have to find those depth communities, and those are almost exclusively spiritual communities. And so that's where I would recommend looking. And I have a bias towards the spiritual route that I think is best for people. And but you need to seek that out and look for communities with deep connection. And there are individuals who have that too. And there are families that have that. But the more the merrier. The it takes a village mindset is true in a lot of ways. It's not just raising a kid, it's raising healthy and good people. So yeah, and on top of that, be neighborly, be friendly, be supportive, be that person to other people. Don't push yourself past real boundaries. That's another area where community comes in, because we can all share the load, versus if you're taking on everyone's stuff as an isolated island, you're going to sink. So yeah, get out of your own way, and bringing in people is helpful. So that's it for today. Welcome back, I guess, to myself and those watching. And also, having been offline for a couple weeks, it was very alarming to come back and find a 41-second video, I think, 40-second video that I made 2 months ago has like 4,000 views now, which for my channel is insane. It's got 10 times more views than anything else. I don't know why that went viral. It's literally just me talking and saying I needed to put a video out today, and it's in the dark, so you can't even see me, but whatever. So if you watched that, thank you. Out of the over 100 videos I've made, that would probably not make the top 100 of ones that I thought would do well. So social media is an interesting place, but thanks for showing up. Yeah, and I got a back catalog if you're new. So I love just talking about the work that I do: identity formation, professional development, identity alignment, and general mental health development. Good life is out there for people, and it's fun to talk about. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Happy Monday.